Morning, this is Troy from the Do-It-Yourself World and the Off-Grid Project. It's very wet and dark and gloomy today. It's a leftover piece of my metal roofing. I'm going to cut that up into pieces. I only need a couple feet though. This was the protective cover for the roof. And it was a 8-foot long sheet and I need 16 feet. So I need another 8-foot long piece. I'll have to order that later. And then I've got the leftover edging we're going to install later, the drip edge. So everything is sopping wet. It rained in the night. Everything is wet. Under the tent it's dry and safe, but the wood pile that I use is all wet. It got rained on. I don't know if I can really be cutting today or not. That's not too bad. It's I don't know. I guess I can try cutting a few pieces, and if it's not too bad then I can still work today. John may or may not come over to install the windows. I got some windows. They were dirt cheap. While I was over in town last night, I picked up another saw because I burnt one through. These are basement windows with window screens. They were only $47 a piece. It's 32 inches wide by 14.5 inches high. And these are going to be absolutely perfect for my loft. I've got two for that, and I've got the bathroom window. So I'm hooked up on that. So if we decide to continue on with the windows today, then John will come over and help me do that. Working on putting this in the forest. This is going to go away. My neighbor wants some firewood, and I said, listen, if you clear out the spot where I can park this, you can have the wood. Well, the tiny house is high and dry. That's a good thing. Big Mouth is talking in the background. Every time I talk, he's got to get his words in. So, my tiny house on wheels. It's really pretty in here. Now, a lot of people are talking about, why don't I install the wood stove first and get that going? Well, one, I don't need it right now. It's not cold at night. Not yet. And the wood stove will be in the way. If I put a big wood stove in here and pipes and everything, then I can't finish the walls. And I'll probably have another month. Actually, by law in New York City, I don't know about the state, but I lived in the city, and by law they don't even have to turn on the heat until November, if I remember right. And in apartments, when you're renting an apartment in New York, they don't even have to turn on the heat at all in your apartment. I remember one time it was freezing. There was nothing we could do. Nothing at all. My roommate and I, we just froze. Complained to the landlord, and he said, well, I don't have to turn it on by law. So, anyway, I can rough it out for now, because there's no point in putting a wood stove out here until the rest of the house is done. I mean, even if I am still working on this in winter, which won't be the case, but anyway, I'm not going to put a bunch of junk out here until the living room was done. Got to work smart. So from here on over is all going to be finished with the paneling, and then I'll be putting the wood stove in. Now I'm torn between putting the exhaust of the stove right through the wall, because it comes right out the back of the stove and it would go right out, and a lot of heat would be lost. I'm torn between doing that and running the pipe up through the roof. I do have the insulated pipe to go through the roof and the mounting hardware for that up there. I could do it. I have the equipment, and I'm seriously considering it now. I'd have to get the flashing and all this stuff to seal it up, but I guess I'm leaning more and more towards it the more I think about it. And it's hard to see with the radiant foil in a way, but the wood stove would come up, well, the wheel well comes up to this double beam here, but I'm thinking about extending that out a few more inches, maybe even 2 feet, and putting the wood stove there, because then the pipe would come over and then go up, and the pipe itself would then run probably for safety reasons. I'd probably go just the inside of this, between these two studs here, and straight up through the roof, somewhere around in there. That gives me plenty of room to walk around to the stairwell without bumping that pipe. So these are the things that I've been considering. I want to get the kitchen done pretty soon as well. So I know a lot of people don't understand the reasons for the order of things that I'm doing, but I have a plan, and everything in my head anyway is being done for a certain reason and a certain pattern. Upstairs will be done last because it's the least important, least urgent part. The insulation up on the roof will be done at the end of this month. Then I'll order the 24-inch center insulation and figure out. I'm still studying about roof venting and ideas and how I'm going to vent that. So I have some ideas and theories, but probably the easiest way to go is to put furring strips down through the center, 2 to 3 furring strips, and then tack on a thin sheet of plastic. That way I can have a 3/4 inch vent, because I don't know where it is, the vent, I threw it up somewhere. That foam is nearly 2 inches thick. It's 1.5 inches, 2 inches through and through, all in all, and that's too much loss when you've only got a 5.5 inch thick ceiling to deal with for insulation. I don't want to lose that much space, so I'll probably end up building my own setup using 3/4 inch thick furring strips, because this is a tiny house, literally, and it's not going to be that much airflow required to keep that dry. So most likely I'll be putting the furring strips through, drilling 3 holes, having the airflow between the furring strips all the way through. Put a sheet of plastic or something on there to stop the not plastic, something that's vapor permeable up there to block the insulation from plugging the holes, and then fill up the holes. But I'm still working that out in my head and coming up with ideas, and as I said, I won't be doing that to the end of the month, so I've got some time. I'm going to finish down here. So as long as the weather allows, I think I'm going to finish this wall here, and then I've got to get, another reason I haven't been putting stuff in here yet is I got to figure out, the battery bank is going to be back there. So I'm going to do some measurements and markings and figure out how that's going in so that I can get power out here. That's going to be another important thing, getting power out here. And then ventilating that through the wall with a fan. That'll be a solar powered fan, probably with a panel outside. So a lot going on and a lot to do yet. Well, it's 12:30. I've been chopping up wood, stacking it away, although you never see the difference here. I've been pulling out all the wood. Well, you can sort of see the path I cleared through here. I've been chopping up all the wood that's been sitting here all summer, drying, and splitting it and stacking it. I've got some stacks of wood out behind the tent. I got 2 piles out there. I've got a board over here that I'm going to start stacking. I've got one behind this tent out here with the drier wood. And I've got piles throughout the forest everywhere. So I put a bit of a dent in it. I think you can actually see the path there that I cut through. I put a dent in it. A little bit of wood done. And I've located some dead standing wood. Some dry standing trees that I'm going to be marking for emergency burning if needed. What I'll be doing, I'm going to finish cutting up everything that I downed this spring and it's been sitting on the ground curing all spring or all year. And I've noticed that, of course, some of the really big ones, like that big fat down tree out there, never cured. Of course, it's too thick. So I'm going to be cutting some standing dead trees that are all through the forest. I'll be using my riding tractor, my garden tractor, a lot and hauling that wood up. So I am very concerned about the cold winter they're talking about, and I want to make sure I have enough wood. Now on the other hand, I am, of course, I have all this old pallet wood that I still have to process. I have piles of this all over the place that I will be processing, so that's good. That is ready to burn. Most of that's oak, and I've got all kinds of it all over the place. But another way, of course, that I am preparing for winter is by really heavily insulating this house. I mean, seriously, this is probably, I'm figuring, equivalent to maybe R26, 27 with the layers that I've got in here, starting from the outside to the in, counting the oak siding that I'll have, and then an air gap, and then the tar paper, and then the 3/4 inch plywood, and then the insulation, and then an air gap, then a radiant foil, then an air gap, then the paper, then the paneling. That's a lot of material between me and the outdoors. So it's I think it's going to be a cozy winter in here. I think it's going to be very, very nice. And especially if I run that stovepipe inside, then I actually think I will end up being using windows to regulate to let the heat out. I think it's going to be very well insulated here, very comfortable. But then again, still, as I say, I'm planning for a brutal winter. Also, a little secret, I gather up propane tanks. Now this is from True Value Hardware, but what I'm doing right now is I'm looking for, I have propane as a backup and propane cooking, and somebody sent me a link. I did read it and I did take it serious. They say it's going to be once in a lifetime winter. I'm actually sort of excited that if it is, because that'll be a good test of my house. But I'm going to get a bunch of cans of propane for backup heating and cooking. I do use propane stove indoors as well as the wood stove in winter, but mostly wood stove in winter, but propane as well. But I'm going to have a thermostat controlled propane heater. So I want to have at least 10 cans of these on standby. Right now I only have 5. This one's empty, and I've got 4 filled. And then I've got of course, there's a bunch of scrap pallet wood and stuff here. There's going to be a lot more than that once I start breaking down these pallets for my house siding. I'll have a lot of pallet wood to burn, because all these metal support pieces, that's all usually hard oak, solid oak, and those are pure firewood for me. So I'll probably have a quart or 2 of just scrap pallet chunks. Now I'm going to go and get some of these. I gave away one of my barrels to a neighbor. He always brings me stuff, so I gave him a barrel. But I'm going to go get the scrap oil, the waste oil, and I'm going to experiment with my waste oil burner as well. Backup on top of backup on top of backup. And a true prepper will definitely have multiple sources of heat, multiple sources of food, and multiple everything, multiple sources of water. So that's my backup plan on top of my backup plan. Got a few logs here that I got to trim down. My chainsaw seized up, or I'd still be cutting. I don't know what happened. The chain got stiff, tight, and froze up, and the engine went out. Well, it ran out of gas too, but the oil chamber wasn't empty, so I'm not sure why that chain got hot and tightened up on me. It's odd because I was cutting all morning and all of a sudden it got tight on me, which is weird. It should be loosening. Any scraps of any junk, rotted wood from this pile as well is going in the kindling pile. I sure have put a dent in this so I can see that. It's really down from where it was from using it for my internal paneling. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to use up most of this pile with paneling. But that's, I mean, it's good. It's good wood then for that and for burning. So I'm going to have multiple sources of firewood as well. And don't forget, I've got 56 acres out here. There are dead trees waiting for me to harvest. And like there's one that came down this year. That's a nice big dead tree waiting for me to just go and cut up and burn. That's nicely cured wood. That whole thing, you can see the stump there. That's waiting for me. I gotta figure out what's wrong with my chainsaw. But that's why, honestly, I wasn't stressed. I wasn't highly stressed about wood yet. September is cooler weather. And I'm sweating like a dog right now. Do dogs sweat? No, I'm sweating. But I'm sweating like something unusual. Anyway, and it's only 65 degrees out. September is cooler weather for me to cut firewood. And that's definitely what I'm doing. It's I am not going to be out there in July and August cutting firewood, not in 90, 100 degree weather. But this is the season, and there's plenty of it. And anyway, you'll be seeing me cutting a lot of wood recently in the next coming days. Well, John is possibly coming over, although it's dark and wet and gloomy. If he does come over, we're putting in the windows in the tiny house, and that'll be it for the tiny house outside construction until I get the paneling done. John, welcome back.
Hey.
Listen, this is unusual. I usually don't plan things, but I want to see your true, honest reaction on video after you set your stuff down. What did you say when I said I was going to make my own paneling out of this junk?
The truth?
The truth. I want the truth.
When you started cutting that, and I was over there helping and observing, if you could have saw my head, it kept going like this.
What were you thinking?
I said, he's got such energy. I just cannot imagine that happening. It can't be done because each board took forever and a day. And I think you need a sawmill.
Yeah, that's what you said. That's what you said. Yeah. Now, I want to watch your reaction as you see what I did.
What do you got, 3 or 4 boards up?
Yeah.
No way.
What do you think?
Boy, it's a good thing I can't swear. What the?
Did I do a good job?
How much that cost you?
This? What do you mean nothing?
Right?
Nothing.
You sure you didn't buy that?
Is that beautiful or what? You smell it?
I can run my hand over without getting...
You smell the sweet? I love that smell. Is that amazing? Look at the pink. It looks like a piece of salmon.
Yeah.
I keep staring at it. This looks like a fillet of salmon sitting on a plate right here.
Wow.
Isn't it awesome? The colors, the smell. I can't believe it, huh? This is 2 days of work.
Yeah, I've only been going for a few days.
Yeah, this is 2 days. Now, granted...
The thicknesses are so uniform.
Yeah, that's that table saw. Ripping junk 2x4s on the table saw. Can you believe that?
Oh, man.
I love the smell in here. I love it.
I don't know what you're...
Oh. Is it amazing?
I'm never going to challenge you to say, well, I don't think you can do that.
It's work. But I figured if I was to buy this, it would cost $600 to $1,000 to buy this stuff. And you would never get this color. And the textures. Look, even the burn marks from the saw are beautiful. It all adds character.
You got knots.
The colors and the knots, and over here you've got different. Look at the different gray colorations in the wood from being outdoors and age. Look at here. There's some gray in there.
That's one board.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. See the gray here and there? It adds character. And then if you look up in certain places, like in this corner, you can see the radiant foil behind. So I added this salmon colored paper. Okay. And now, look, here's a gap.
Really,
oh, look, here's a gap. Here's a gap. You see nothing.
Right.
It worked. Perfect. You see nothing.
You said you were going to do it that way.
Yeah.
But when we started ripping that stuff the other day, I'm going to have to stop him. He's going to...
I know. I doubted myself at times. I'm like, what am I doing? But would you believe, cutting takes the longest, right? Obviously, I'm using a table saw. But when I come in here, I'm using a air compressor powered brad nailer. And just go pop, 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 pop. You'll be seeing that in a video in a day or two. Mm-hmm. It is nice. It's fast. So I think this is going to be an amazing tiny house
No, because everybody in the other tiny houses, they put up knotty pine that they buy at the store. You know, anybody can do that if they have the money. This is, it's creative and it's the price is better.
Oh, I can't believe this was that black, filthy, rotting wood. I cut out the bad stuff. I used the good stuff. There's mosquitoes already invading my home. You know, I used only the good stuff, and this is what you get. And I'm putting diatomaceous earth on the backside of every panel for safety.
Oh.
I'm powdering it all so that this house will be protected.
Listen, if you ever move out, you can always sell this for a walk-in
I know. Yeah, right. You wait till you see the video when I had the walls were all silver in here. This whole living room, it looked like a walk-in cooler, like you said it was.
Oh.
I taped all the seams. Here I just, I haven't finished this, but behind there, all the seams are taped. Like I was talking this morning on camera, I think I got between R26 and 27 if you count the exterior. I'm going to have outdoor oak siding, then an air gap, then the 3/4 inch tongue and groove, and the tar paper, and then the rock wool, and then an air gap, and then the radiant foil, then an air gap, then the paper, then the paneling. That's a lot. It's going to be warm in here.
Better get a smaller stove.
I know. It's going to be nice.
Wow.
I love that smell. That sweet smell. I love it. That's what I wanted. I got a lot to do yet, but
You said you were going to do it.
I figure another day and I'll have the living room wall done over here. Actually 2 days because it's going to take me time. I got to do the insulation up there. When I do this wall with radiant foil, there's no point in cutting it, so I'm going all the way to the top. I'm going to do insulation up in there, and then I'll come across with the radiant foil and come all the way up. So I've got to cut furring strips, 2 furring strips for every stud all the way top. Because there's there's a furring strip onto the stud, then there's a radiant foil, and then there's the furring strip, and then there's the paneling.
And
So-
this is going to make you can make a nice windowsill here.
Yes, I am. I'm going to have a piece of trim. I've already figured it out. I'm going to have a board up in here, flush to here, and going in this gap, all the way starting from. I'm going to put the windowsill down. I'm going to have a thick windowsill about this far out, and then I'm going to come up with the trim here and here and here, and then I'm going to put a frame starting from the windowsill and coming up and then over and down.
Okay.
And this is going to be really pretty. It's going to be incredible. I am really
I think this is called
happy.
what you're going to build here. I think they call it a return.
Yeah?
Don't quote me.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I think they call this a return. And then you're going to put molding. You probably make your own molding.
I'm
for
gonna.
goodness sake.
I'm gonna make my own trim, or whatever you call it, molding in the corners
Sure.
out of this stuff. It's everything. So I'm gonna do it all myself. I've got ideas. I'm gonna make lap joints on the table saw. I decided I'm gonna run the boards through like this, put the table saw 1/4 inch high, 3/8 inch maybe. Run the board through one way, flip it over, run it through the other side, and then I've got my lap joints for outdoors.
Oh.
Table saw, easiest way to go.
Wow.
Yep. So, enough of the...
I bet you that sawdust bag is full.
That sawdust has been emptied 5 times.
Wow.
Yeah, check it out. Nice, amazing byproduct of the cutting. I forgot to mention that on camera. I keep forgetting. Really nice byproduct of the cutting is the finest
Wow.
sawdust.
Wow.
I love the smell.
And the color of it.
Smell it.
It's pink also.
It's so sweet. It's so... I might use it in a little net mesh bags for potpourri.
It smells like cedar, but that's not cedar, right?
No, it's pine. I mean,
Now, if
It's-
you ripped those new boards, it wouldn't look like that, and it wouldn't
No.
smell like
it
that.
would be white and it wouldn't be as nice. Yeah, yeah. That's I've dumped 2 bags into the chicken coop, into the new chicken coop, and this is 3 bags worth here. There was 3 more, and that one's almost full. So I am going to have enough composting toilet material for a bag this big will last me about a month and a half
Wow.
for the composting toilet. It doesn't use much. So I'm going to be hooked up for the winter for composting toilet once I get my legal New York State registered certified expensive composting toilet. But yeah. Look at the dust all over the place. But I have been ripping boards. Yeah. And then, oh look. Here, I get this really nice veneer left over from each board. So I can use that for cabinetry or whatever.
Wow.
Isn't that nice?
So thin.
Yeah. That's the leftover. That's the last cut on each board. So it's definitely turning out some good stuff. All these strips I'm going to be using on something or other. I'll figure it out. But nothing's going to go to waste out here. It's really nice. Really, really turning out nice. See, there's a piece of paneling right there. You can touch it and
On the top?
yeah.
Yeah.
I know your legs aren't as big as mine. I step over this daily.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice? Look at how thick that turned out and uniform. It's from a table saw. Who would have known?
It's cutting still very good.
Yeah.
And that's the
Yeah.
same blade that you put on there?
Yeah. It's getting dull. I got a new blade. But it's doing the job.
Wow.
There's the different colors and I love it. I really love it. You can't buy that. You can't buy that stuff. Not with these colors.
So you'll be able to make any shape, size, thickness you want now.
I'm going to make my own trim. What I decided, I'm going to take a board. When I do the corner trim in the house, I'll take a board. Well, for the, sorry, what I'm thinking about is I'm thinking of saying two different things. On the flooring where my wires are going to run through. I'm going to take a piece of this, basically, and clean it up on all the sides. And I'm going to take the table saw and then just go in and run the table saw through half thickness of this and run it through a couple times and I've got a channel. You put that up on the wall and you've got yourself your foot, your what do you call it, the trim along the floorboards.
Yeah, your
That's it,
baseboard.
baseboards.
It's going to be baseboard / conduit, I guess.
That's it. And with screws it means I can redo my wiring at any time.
Oh, that's right, you can take it back off.
Yep. So that's simple.
Well, I guess you don't need me.
Yeah, well, it was good seeing you, John. Actually, we're going to do windows today.
There's some windows.
So I've got some nice windows. I'll be showing you that. We'll open them up and I'll show you. And although it's threatening to rain, it's not supposed to till 5 now. It rained all morning and then it cleared up. So we'll get these windows going.
Funny, where was I today? Across the river, wasn't raining.
Yeah, it rained all morning,
Wow.
but it cleared up. So anyway, I'll shut off the camera and I'll show you the windows.